My name is Janet Therese, and I'm an intuitive guide and mentor for inner alignment. I'm so excited to share a soulful self-care conversation today.
I'm good to see you again. Had to walk out to let you back in. Stuck in a storm of a relationship. Lost my fire. Oh, and I forgot about me for way too long. But it's rolled on. Now there ain't no shade around here.
Hey everybody, it's Pearl Sharenza with Women's Successful Living, and I'm so excited to have you on another podcast of Soulful Self-Care Conversations today. I love all the amazing women that we bring into the world. A couple times we do have some men, so keep your eyes out because we do have some amazing men coming up. But I love bringing women in that are going to help you understand that you can do all the things, but still take care of self. You can find harmony in your life. You can create a world where you don't have to wear all the armors. And so if this is new to you, your first time on our show, please sit back, grab a cup of tea, because I'm not a coffee drinker, but you can drink your coffee if you want to, and just enjoy some time together with us. If don't worry about notes, we'll be taking notes for you. You can come back and read them later. If you're driving, give a honk to the neighbor next to you. Tell them to listen to Soulful Self-Care Conversations. But today, I want to introduce my dear friend, Janet Therese. She is an intuitive guide who helps people align with divine presence within to manifest their best loved life. And now you can identify with and clear the stories that we have been holding us back. These stories are just patterns of energy that you can clear and live the life you love as you are amazing, empowered, and your true self. Welcome to the show, Janet.
Thank you. So good to be here.
I'm excited to have you. Okay, so everybody always says, Pearl, do you have any questions that you want to know for the show? No, I have one question, and if everybody watches the show, they'll already know. So the question we would like to ask you to start off the show is we would like an introduction. Would you please introduce us to little Janet? Will you please tell us what life was like for her growing up? What kind of little girl was she? What did she love to do? And what did she want to be when she grew into this big, amazing adult Janet today? And how do the two correlate to what you are actually doing today?
Oh, I love that. Okay. You know how they say that you should pay attention to what you played, what you did as a child, because that kind of informs your calling as you get older, right? Well, I grew up in the 60s and and my favorite show was Bewitched. And I couldn't figure out whether I liked what she did more or what he did more because he was in advertising. Okay, she was a witch. For those people who didn't know, she was a good witch. And, she'd twitch her nose and magical things would happen. So whatever she would want, she would twitch her nose. And of course, she marries a mortal and he's just not into that. So she vows to never utilize this skill, right? And he's a marketing guy. So he's, you know, drawing up art and creating taglines and all these fun things too. So the years when I grew up, I mean, we studied metaphysics in the home. And even though I was raised Catholic, because I'm Italian, and then my father was also in the Rosicrucian Mystery School. So I had these, I'm so grateful for this too, this very broad education about spirituality and God, divine presence, whatever you want to call it. I'm good with the word God. So I grew up doing all the things that we're supposed to do, right? I got married and I did the things. I did all the things. I kept raising my hand. I was a good girl. But there was always this part of me that felt so connected, and I'll say vertically. And I've always been intuitive. And I had a spiritual opening when I was 26. And, before that, I studied. I mean, I was reading books like A World Beyond when I was a teenager by Ruth Montgomery about reincarnation and A Course in Miracles and things like that, books by Emmett Fox and Ernest Holmes. And I was fascinated by this as a kid. And so grateful to my father for giving me that experience and taking me to parapsychology classes. But the truth is, back then, you really couldn't be an intuitive in the world. It was kind of, you get a lot of eye rolls. I still get some, but I don't care anymore. That's the gift of getting older, right? So I actually had become a marketing executive at one point. And that job, well, let's put it this way. I think when you're off your trajectory, when you're off your soul's path, you'll get little taps on the shoulder. Excuse me, you're not doing what you came here to do, right? Excuse me, what you're doing is not good for you. Excuse me, what you're doing is not aligned. And if you don't pay attention, the little taps on the shoulder are going to get louder and it's going to turn into a whack. And there was a point where I got several whacks. Um, I kept trying to do it myself. I kept trying to function on the horizontal as a kid, as a young adult, in my marriages that were abusive, and there was alcoholism there, and I had a lot of trauma. Things just weren't working out. And at the end of, well, the second half of 2015 was when I got a wake-up call. There were several things that happened all at once. Staff kept getting cut. My staff was cut 30%. I was getting battleground promotions. I was doing too much, but continuing to raise my hand because I didn't get it. I thought that's what I needed to do. And I was ignoring my calling. And I ended up, my parents, within that period, both my parents passed away within a 2-week period, which honestly is really beautiful because they had such a good marriage for 65 years and they loved each other very much. And I had a cancer scare on my ankle and it turned out to be benign, thank God. But it was terrifying. And here I'm trying to manage my teams, and it was just horribly stressful. And I ended up, after that 6 months, my job was ended as well. So I was let go. And I spent a year on the couch. Couldn't move. My adrenals were completely tanked. I was diagnosed with Hashimoto's. The fatigue was unbearable. And I really believed that I was given a sit, stay. You're going to sit, you're going to stay, and you're going to figure it out. And what I figured out was that I wasn't doing what I came here to do, what my soul was calling me to do. And I had to do it in a really painful way. And I work with people to help them get it so they don't have to go through, you know, what I went through to get it, the wax, right? And I realized that when I'm in vertical alignment, the horizontal works itself out. I don't have to do anything except stay vertically aligned and recognize. Recognize. What does that mean? Recognize. Know again. The truth is that I'm connected and I'm a divine expression of divine presence. I'm an individuated expression of the whole. We are all cells in the same body of consciousness. And when I got that on a cellular level, it didn't matter anymore that people would roll their eyes, or, I decided that's it. I'm done. I'm just going to be in the world, it's who I am. I'm going to show up fully as who I am and what I came here to do. So now, that's my barometer is, does it feel expansive? Do I feel expanded when I do it? Do I feel connected to God when I do it? It's really very simple. If I'm contracting, I have to pay attention. If I feel my energy field around me contracting, I pay attention to that. Okay, is this something that's not good for me? Is this a fear that's coming up for me? And if it's a fear, I deal with that. Sometimes it's a story. It's a story, an old story, a limiting belief. I couldn't possibly, my favorite, I'm a sham. And if they only knew, right? I think everybody has a little bit of that. But that's what I help my clients with. And that helps me feel expanded. And for those of you out there who are not aware of your energy body, take your hand and spread your fingers and put it up toward the light and soften your gaze. Look through the fingers and you can see the fuzziness around the edges of your hand. That's your energy body. We're electromagnetic beings and we attract what we are, what we're thinking.
Right.
Our thoughts are thought forms, right?
That's so powerful. I love that you shared that. I love the journey you shared too with your family and how they, you
Mm,
know, created that space for you to walk, to take the little girl from where she was to where she is today. And that they
yeah.
created the space. And I think it's such a beautiful story that they went so I mean people might not see it that way. Oh my God, they both passed away within 2 weeks. But I hear those stories all the time and I'm
Yeah.
just like they're so beautiful. We lost our Uncle Tony. He was in his 90s. I can't remember exactly how old he was earlier last year, mid last
Uh-huh.
year. And my husband went. I couldn't go to the service, and so I'm going to be going to California here in a couple on Sunday for a family situation. And so I um I am excited to see my Aunt Luann, but I also worry that, oh my gosh, because they were so connected. They've been married for so long. But
Right.
there's an age difference in there a little bit too. And I was just asking my cousin, I'm like, so how's she doing? She's like, the kids are keeping her busy. She's pretty busy. You know, she's already health wise, she's great health wise and all that too. So
Yeah.
I'm excited to see her. But when I hear those stories, I'm like, their love just couldn't be separated. You know,
I
it's such
know.
a beautiful thing. And I felt like I believe in God and I feel like God's like, okay, I want both of you here together because you guys need to be with one another. So I think
Right.
it's so amazing and that thank you for sharing them with us. I think it's so
Sure.
sweet. Yeah. So okay, so I was talking with somebody earlier another podcast and we were talking about what we do and the coaching and the different things and you know how we help our clients. And so I'm going to ask you this question that I asked her. So in November, Thanksgiving, my son, we were with him and his wife and her family, so with his in-laws for Thanksgiving. And his sister-in-law's boyfriend at the was going through some stuff. We talked about some things he was going through. I'm like, let me teach you something just to kind of calm you down. You know, I was teaching him a little rep to do with his fingers. And before I could do that, when I said, let me teach you, my son goes, oh, here we go. She's gonna teach you the woo-woo stuff. It's
Here we
like, oh,
go.
I was laughing so hard. So what do you say to the people? And I love my son, so when he says I just chuckle because my husband teases me too. But when you hear people say that, you know, that it's woo woo, like what's your response when you hear that? Because I feel like well, you can call it woo woo, but you know what? It's so relaxing. It's so calming. It makes the outlook on the world a little different. And we can all say, like, right now we're recording this, there's so much stuff happening in the world. But
Yeah.
our little space that we're in, our little bubble here is the bubble I'm concerned with right now. Do I
Yeah.
care about, of course, I care what's happening in the world. However, I know I have to take care of me first before I
That's
can
right.
even show up for my anything I got to get rid of my armors and take care of my bubble, right? So
That's right.
tell us, like, when you hear people talk about that, like, oh, it's so, what's your response when you hear that?
Sometimes it is woo-woo. And sometimes I really believe there's a lot of spiritual bypass that's out there that, we think we're doing it ourselves when we're really, it's a yes and. We are one within oneness. So to me, what I tell people who just, give me the complete and total eye roll, I give an example of somebody standing a little bit too close. Like if somebody's standing too close to you, like uncomfortably close, right? It feels, and we even have the language around it. It's like, oh, they're in my space, right? Because they are. They're in your space because the electromagnetic field that surrounds and permeates the physical body, they walk in, they step into that space, and it's like, ooh, it doesn't feel comfortable sometimes, depending on what's going on with you. But I just find that really interesting that people experience it all the time. You can be sitting at your computer and somebody could walk in behind you and you might know who they are even without hearing or seeing or because you feel their essence because everyone has their own energetic signature. So when someone says, it's not real, I'll give them that example, but I won't spend too much time with it because it's okay. You know what I mean? It's really okay. am kind of over trying to convince people, but
That's how I am. I'm like, when I hear that, I'm like, "Well, you know what? It's fine. If you don't understand or, want to be part of
yeah.
it, I'm not for you. I'm not for everybody, right?" So,
Hmm.
and so it's funny because sometimes, I'm big on starting understand the word no as a complete sentence. You can say as happy as you say yes. And
Yes.
so, I share with them about what I have, what's called we have what's called our Shiro method, where we walk you through how to step into your joy, how to do a not to do list of the things that keep you from your joy list, so that
Right.
you can become strong, happy, empowered, radiant, and original. And so when we do that, when I get to the R and I explain that, when I started doing the glow up for myself, I call it the radiant glow up. But when I walk in rooms, people are like, "What's so different about you?" I'm like, "I'm just saying no." Like that's just it. I'm just
Right.
saying no. I haven't cut my hair. I haven't done anything else like that. So, but yeah, so I'm like you, like either they want to be part of it or not. And it's interesting because you said something, I'm not gonna quote you because I can't remember exactly, but one of the things that struck with me is people say, and like you said, when we get older, we're kind of like, I don't need to explain
Yeah. It's okay.
anymore. But people say different things are horrible. Like, so yeah. So I froze here for a second. Sorry about that. So
Yeah, that's
I
okay.
one of the things that people say to me is, certain talents that people have. Like I
Mhm.
have a friend and we have a mutual friend actually does Reiki, and I love Reiki sessions. I think they're so amazing. But our mutual friend, her name is Mary Good, and she's been on my show twice.
Mhm.
What I like about her is she's she truly touches you and she brings God into the world. Like people
Right.
think Reiki is this devil thing, but I'm like,
Yeah.
I look at them and I say, okay, do you understand? I had my youngest son through in vitro. Do you understand that according to some Catholic churches, that's a sin? And they look at me,
Right.
what? I'm like, okay, so see? So I believe that God gives us all talents to bring
Yeah,
something message to the world. So
that's right.
whether it's in vitro so I can have a child or Reiki so I can be reconnected and ground myself, what's wrong with
Yeah.
that, and so if it's
Yeah.
not for you, it's not for you, it's great.
Yeah.
But I think like what you do in the world of what you do, and for me as well, is like that intuitive guide, like you talk about becoming aligned with your divine presence.
Yeah.
I think it's so important that, like you said, the vertical and the horizontal, we have to be in line, because then we can clearly understand part of what that next decision we have to make. Because
Right.
oftentimes, I believe that we've come into this world, like, first of all, God knows when we're born and God knows when he's taking us back. I don't care what he says, he's already
That
picked the date.
right.
So
Exactly. God
so
walks
what
before us.
yeah, so what you put in the middle of those two, in that dash as it's called, that's
Mhm.
something you have to do. But if you start going off the road and not following the dash and not listening to your gut, I had another guest a couple of days ago. We talked about listening to our gut. Not listening to our gut can lead us to do things that we shouldn't be doing, and
Exactly.
that's not necessarily a gut. That to me, I feel like that's a voice. I mean, the night that my son passed away, I had
Yeah.
that gut feeling something was wrong. I looked at my husband. He's like, "You're having a heart attack." I'm like, "Nope, this is not a heart attack. Something's wrong."
Something's
And
yeah.
so we have to listen to that gut. And so that's part of being connected with that divine presence. So we can clearly hear the stories so that we
Mhm.
don't get held back. And so what I love for you to walk us through, Janet, is with your clients, like when they come in and maybe they're hesitant because they're not sure, what are some of the
Yeah.
steps you do to reassure them the work they're going to do is, I mean, first of all, it's their work. They got to do it. We're just
Right.
guiding them, right? How do you help them embrace the work?
Well, uh, I usually have a free consult where I'll talk to them, and I first question I ask is what is their word for God? You know, where are they spiritually, so that we can speak the same language, because that's really important to me. I think it's, you can call it a bologna sandwich if you want. It just doesn't matter. It is what it is, right? And we all have our stories. We all have, why are you coming to see me? What is the thing that's in your way that you want to get rid of? Because what I try to explain to people is that there is your true self, your deeper wisdom, that highest guidance, your higher self, that is your soul trying to speak to you. And we've got our ego personality, and the ego personality is always trying to do things on the horizontal, right? Well, if I could just talk to this person and get to that person and maybe, get what we need horizontally. And I explain to them that I take a two-pronged approach. One, we peel away. Are there any traumas? Are there any limiting beliefs? We clear these patterns of energy that are hanging out in their energy field because that informs their experience, like a funhouse mirror. They're looking at life through their traumas, right? And then after we peel away a goodly amount, they start becoming more intuitive. Well, isn't that funny? Because the ego, the stories, the thought forms are not there as much anymore. So then it's easier for them to connect above and below this pillar of light that runs through the center of the body. And they go to the heart because your heart knows where you need to go. And they can tap into that. The brain's going to do what the brain's going to do. The brain's going to yammer. And, if you're sitting in meditation and your thoughts are blah, 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 if you can step back behind those thoughts, even for a second, the more you meditate, the bigger the gap is between the thoughts. The more you practice, the bigger the gap becomes between the thoughts. And that's that peaceful place where you recognize who you are and what's coming through you. And when you're tapped into that, then you can say, okay, put me where I need to be today. Who do I need to talk to today? What's one thing I need to do today? And you'll get information. I promise you, you will. And I usually help them recognize that they're not their ego personality and they're not their stories and they're not their emotions. And guess what? You're not your thoughts either. So when you step back into that divine presence, there's a calmness that happens. And this is an extreme way of saying it, but nothing matters anymore. Nothing matters anymore because everything's okay. Everything's fine. In that moment, everything's fine. And when you think about that vertical, okay, that vertical presence and the horizontal, that axis where the two meet, that's the now. And that's where you tap in to divine presence. And that's when it comes in. That's when all the answers come. That's when all of a sudden you're just moved to do something, to go somewhere, to call someone.
I love that, the tapping in. And what you said about meditation really stuck with me because I started learning how to meditate. We've been in this house like I think 4 or 5 years ago.
Uh-huh.
And a friend of mine I met through Clubhouse back during the pandemic. And
Uh-huh.
we've become really, really good friends. And she's from Canada. And she taught me, she said the same thing. Like when you like she taught me how to meditate with no music. So I don't play
Yep.
any music.
Yep.
Just sit in the quietness of my whatever space I'm in. But
Yep.
she said the same thing when thoughts come up, just let it go or stand
Yep.
behind it,
Yeah.
and things like that. It's so powerful when you do that because meditation to me is just a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
I like to do like 3 o'clock in the afternoon. I do a breath. I allow myself to take naps in the afternoon too, because
Ah, I love naps.
and I could take my husband goes, how do you do that? Like I could take a 20-minute nap. I'm like, I'm up, no problem. And I
Yeah.
think it's because I've trained my body to understand, and I've listened to my body rather to
Yeah.
understand that when it needs the breaks, I got to give it to it. So, especially because I was sharing with somebody earlier, it's like when people come on, we when we coach our clients, we take on into some of their energy comes into our world. So we have to clear
Mm.
the energy. We have to like reground ourselves. And sometimes it's through breathing, sometimes it's meditations, whatever that is. I think
Yeah.
it's so important. Remember that. So even if you're not somebody who's like you and I, Janet, if you're not a coach, but you're a financial
Yeah.
planner or you're in the medical, whatever that is, the people that come into your world, their energy comes in, just like what you're saying earlier about you're standing too close to me, right? Their
Right.
energy comes in. So you have to find a way to clear that so that when you can help the next person or like just get back into if you're having a great day and all of a sudden this person shared stuff, it's like, ooh, you got to
Oh,
be able to
I'm
bring
so glad
yourself
you
back.
mentioned that. Let me do a shameless plug. I have a back to center meditation. It's a 5-minute meditation and it's on my YouTube channel. And
Awesome.
it will help you do. I work with a lot of empaths. Um, and let me just say this about that because empaths have clairsentience. That's all it
Right.
is clairsentience,
Right.
right? You're just feeling the emotions of others. And it's really seriously, it's seriously just, excuse me, the person next to you is feeling sad. That's all it is. That's
I
all it
love
should
that.
be. It shouldn't come too close. So the reason people's energy comes in is because we're not staying expanded.
Yeah.
So if you breathe in and expand and keep your energy expanded, they can't get in too close to begin with.
Yeah. Yeah, it's so 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 true. I love that. So, how can people get well, let's go ahead and do this. So that was my next question anyways. So, tell us how we can connect with you. So, this is on YouTube and on audio and video. So, put
Yeah.
everything in the show notes, but when you do that also share how they can get that meditation.
Oh, the meditation is on my YouTube channel. It's at Janet Therese. It's Therese is TH. So it's JanetTherese. And you can also go to my website at janettherese.com if you want to reach out. I'm happy to do a free consult.
I love that. I'm gonna go check out that on YouTube because I loved meditations. I in December, I had to go. I have a heart condition and I was having a problem and I thought maybe there's something going with my heart, but it's all clear. But I had to go to the hospital, and so there was talk about energy. The hospital is building a new wing and they lost a whole wing, so we were in a hallway. So we're in
Oh,
a hallway with like
awesome.
yeah, and with a little thing between each of us, right? So the
Yeah.
energy of that hallway was not great energy, but there was a lady behind me. I had an incident. Long story short, she got really nasty, and I was like, "That's just completely rude." And I got really upset because it triggered me over the loss of my son. And
Yes.
so my friend, all my ambassadors were they're checking on me. Mary and some of the other girls were texting me, checking on me. And my one friend Sarah, shout out, hi Sarah Cruz, she sent me a meditation. She's like, listen to this. I was like, oh my God, I love this. I just love good meditations. When
Yeah.
people share them with you. And so I literally laid it on my pillow, on my phone, put it next to my pillow, and I just like zoned everybody out in the hallway and just went right into that meditation. It was so, so powerful. So I'm
Nice.
glad you had that online. I'm going to go check it
Nice.
out and we'll make sure the
Good.
show notes show all of that as well.
And sometimes the reason I kept it short on purpose because I like using it as a precursor to meditation, so then you can just go off. There's a minute of the chimes in the background
Right.
where you can just go into a silent
Meditation.
meditation
I
and
love that.
focus on the breath after that.
That's
It's
so
more
cool.
about managing your energy field,
That's something
clearing.
that we talk about in the Shiro method, the program that I coach. It's a 6-month program. We talk about that. We talk about how
Yeah.
to have harmony in your life, how to step into things that bring you joy, how to identify the things that need to come off your list that don't allow you to enjoy your joy list. But we also talk about meditations and taking that time and that space.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna make sure we share that with everybody as well. And
Wonderful.
so before I let you go, we talked about our Better Question, Better Life cards. So,
Awesome.
for those that are new, I want to welcome you to the show for listening to us today. Make sure you like and subscribe below. Those that are second timers or third timers or how many times you've been with us, we're so glad you came back. If you haven't liked and subscribed, do so. But in the meantime, share us out to somebody. But these cards are something how we close out the show. They're called Better Questions, Better Life. Go to betterquestionsbetterlife.com. I don't have any kickback on it. My good friends created these cards. They're just great questions to journal, meditate on, whatever you want to do. So, Janet, you're going to tell me when to stop. I'm going to shuffle them right now. You tell me when to stop, and we'll have you answer a card. So here we go.
Okay. Stop.
All right. So, oh, what would I do if I wasn't afraid? What would you do if you weren't afraid?
Me? I have to answer that? Okay, what would I do if I weren't afraid? I would go spend a month in Italy.
So tell
And
me, why are you afraid to go spend a month in Italy?
because I have a little jailer, my little dog.
So,
And
so you know,
it's all
so
about him. Otherwise, it'd be like, whatever, I'll do it.
okay,
But
okay. So wait a minute, Janet. I'm going to coach you through this
hmm,
so you can go to Italy. I want to come visit you in Italy. Why can't the dog go with you?
I don't know. I haven't researched that. He probably could, but he's only taken the flight from Washington to Colorado when we moved. So it's a thing traveling with an animal, but
Yeah,
he's
I know.
only
I'm I'm
25
I'm
pounds.
leaving Sunday to go to California, and my little Lily, she's 6 months old. She's probably like
Oh,
12 pounds, and I'm like, oh, I could take her but she's never been on a plane before. And I'm like, that's going across country. If she cries too much, they kick me off the flight. I'm like, no, I'm going to stay home.
Oh, but really young like that, get her used to it early. I
Yeah, that's
couldn't.
what I was
It was
thinking.
COVID.
Yeah.
I got him during COVID, so I couldn't.
Oh, yeah. So that works makes sense. So
Yeah.
I'm gonna answer that question. What would I do if I wasn't afraid? Um, I would say, I answered this question and I'm gonna stick with it. A couple weeks ago it came up for me at an event I was at. I would paraglide off of a mountain
Oh
in
my
Sedona
God.
in Sedona.
Wow. Oh, I love Sedona.
And I'm
And
scared of heights and I don't know how to swim and I so so and I won't say
things
that
like
too
that
loud
though.
so my insurance doesn't hear me. So
Yeah, I hear you, but that involves gravity, so I'm not sure I would do
that's
that
I think that's
either.
what holds me
I have
back.
tremendous respect for gravity.
I do too. Oh my God, this was so much fun. So I want to thank you
Yeah,
for being on. We'll put everything in the show
thank
notes.
you.
And I just want to remind our viewers and our listeners that when you come into this world, you're a little heart of a shell. Your shell has to be open. You have to nurture it. And as you do so, you become stronger, happier, empowered, radiant, and original pearl that you're supposed to be. So I hope you go out and find your inner pearl to be in the Cheryl you are today. Have an amazing That was day. So much fun talking to Janet. I love how she started out with Bewitched. That was one of my favorite shows watching growing up. But I just want to remind you that, the sit and stay in and like really getting and peeling away those and clearing those things that hold us back. She does great work with trauma work and healing, and also like clearing that energy that's holding you back and the stories that we've held on to is so important to clear so that you really can get empowered to your true self. So I want you to know that we had so much fun talking about Janet. Go to the website, go grab her freebie, check out that meditation. And if you want help on working in this area, go ahead and go to wsliving.com. That's wsliving.com and book a Say Yes to You call. It's a 30-minute free call. Let's talk about what we can do to help you start saying yes to your life. I hope you have a great day. And it's around Valentine's Day that we're recording it. So I hope you had a great Valentine's Day too. Take care.